Okay, welcome to Google Sheets, and you can see up on the screen, and I've told you that you're going to furnish your first apartment. And so what you see up on the screen is the teacher example of what you'll come up with. Um, it's basically going to list in one table the items that you're choosing for your apartment, and then it's going to keep a running total here so that you don't go over budget because you can't. And then in the bottom, there'll be a pie chart that you're going to include, which kind of breaks things down and shows you uh, what percentages you spent on various things. So, as I've talked before, we did in Google Forms, we talked about the fact that that's not going to be a good place to crunch numbers. If you're just going to visually show something on a timeline, or you're going to do like the infograph that we did with the results from your student survey, drawings is great for that. Google Sheets is going to be where you can crunch some numbers. And while it looks a little bit intimidating, we're going to just do a couple basic things to show you how you can do a running total and to show you how it can be helpful. We've talked briefly about Google Sheets when we did the Google Forms student survey. And remember that you created the spreadsheet, and we talked about the fact that that spreadsheet in Google Forms is good if, say, that you're in charge of ordering T-shirts, and you'll have the people's names there, and the next column will have the shirt size, and then the next column might be the different colors that you offered, and then you can just hand them out. I've also talked about the fact as a teacher, also it breaks it down so that I have student results, and so I can look and see which questions might have been a problem, and then I can pull back specific students and we can talk about that without having to go through a whole lesson and have people listen to answers where they already got it right. So we briefly talked about Google Sheets, but now we are going to say that your dear old granny passed away, but when she did, she left you $5,000. And that's perfect because you just graduated from college and your parents and your family are very happy. But on the same note, they said, okay, it's time for you to spread your wings and live on your own. And so now you need to move out into your first apartment. And the lucky thing is that you now have $5,000 that you've inherited that you can spend to furnish the apartment. And so that's kind of where we sit. And so let's get started. Let's take a look. How do I create this spreadsheet where I have my running list of items that I would like to buy? And then it'll keep track for me because I can't go a penny over. My family said, we love you, mean it, but we're not giving you a penny over the $5,000. You're going to need to furnish your apartment with that money. And so we're just going to kind of go with that, and we'll make sure we don't go over the budget, and we're going to have a good time shopping while we do it. So how do I get started? Well, first of all, you know where I'm going to send you. I'm going to send you to your drive. Excuse me. And you'll be in your drive. You'll go in your tech folder. You'll go into your units folder. You'll go into your productivity. This is the last thing we're going to do in unit 1. And then I need you to pause this video and go ahead and make a Google Sheets folder. And once you do that, we're going to go like we always do. We're going to say add a new. This time it is listed, so we're going to click on Google Sheets. And like always, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to come up top and you're going to name it. So I'm going to say my first apartment. Okay. So here we have, let's talk a little bit about language when we look at Google Sheets. Some things that we need to know as far as vocabulary are, these are called cells. So each one of these little blocks is a cell. And as you know from other things, or if you didn't know, these are columns, and then going across are rows. And one of the best ways to explain how we're going to work here is that if you think of a game, I don't know if you've played this, maybe you have, super fun game. If you don't have it, might maybe ask for it for Christmas, is Battleship. And so if you've played Battleship, that when you give out what are called coordinates. So a coordinate might be you take something from the top, from the column, and then you add it to a row. So like right here, I'm highlighted, I'm on D5. So the coordinate will be D5. Here would be B1. C, and I'll go down here, it would be C5. And so those are what we call coordinates. So we have cells, we have columns, and then we have rows. Okay, so let's get started. And some things that we're going to need to do are put in some labels. And so for this video, what we're going to do is we're going to set up the labels. We're going to put in just a few calculations, and then you're going to go ahead and go shopping. And so, and I know for you, that'll be the fun part. So again, we're just going to set it up, put the formulas in, and let you shop. From there, then we'll come back. If you notice, there's colors, and then there's a graph. So we're going to divide it into two. First, we're going to just set things up, put in the necessary headings, put in the calculations we need, and then you're going to go ahead and shop. When we come back on the next video, we'll talk about how do you add color, and then where do you get your chart from. So let's go back and get started. I need item, unit cost, quantity, total amount. So I'm going to go, whoops. I'm going to start at B4. I'll just keep it the same as I did on my teacher one. So let's see. B4 will be item. So we're just going to go ahead and type these in. Item. Unit cost, how much each one costs. Quantity. And then here's going to be the total cost. As you can tell, you can type in these squares. You can add numbers, just like you can on a Google document or anywhere else that we've been so far. Okay, so we have these. And then let me go back and see. We're going to skip one here. And then I'm going to start with G. I'm going to go to G4 and say total spending amount. So G4 will be total spending amount. And if you see that I go over here and it bleeds over, all you do is if you come up to the top, do you see when I hover over, I'll get an arrow there? If I click it and drag it, I can make it wider and then everything pushes over. So visually, it's just helpful. And so you might want to do that as well so things aren't crammed together. Underneath total spending, we'll have total expenditures, which is how much we're going to spend. So total expenditures. And then down below will be our balance. Okay, and so that's what we need right now. And so one more thing I want to do, these are my headings. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bold. So you just come up here and you click just like you would somewhere else. So if I come up here and I click and drag across, I can highlight it and I can go up to my bold and I can bold it. I can do the same thing down here. I can click here and I can drag. You can see it's blue. I can go up and I can bold it because I would like your headings bolded, please. Okay, so we have our headings and we have our headings here. The total spending, let's go ahead and put in old granny. Dear old granny gave us $5,000. And so when we go back, I'm going to type in now, I'm going to put in 5, 1, 2, 3. Now, here's the thing. You don't want to just type in the $sign. You want to put in the 5,000, and then we're just going to tell the computer up here. Do you see here on this toolbar? If I just hit the money, it says format as currency. It automatically adds the $sign for us. So we need to tell the computer, hey, this is dollars. And so we need to be specific because the computers will this program will calculate. We just need to tell it which things it's calculating. So we're doing just a little bit of itty bitty bit of programming here. Okay, total expenditures, we don't know that yet. We'll come back to this in just a moment. Let's go over here where we're going to do our shopping. Item, we're just going to type in our items here, and I'll show you how that works. Unit cost, that's going to be another one where we put dollars. Quantity is just going to be how many do you want? 2, 3, 5. And then this is going to, we'll do a little formula in here, kind of like math class, where this will calculate for us. Could you get out a calculator? Yeah, but then that defeats the purpose of actually using Google Sheets. So we're going to see that that's really simple, and we're just going to let Google Sheets calculate for us. And so let's just do one as an example. So my first apartment, let me think, let's get a couch. So I'm going to just type in couch. Then I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to say that I'm going to get my couch from, I like Ashley's Furniture. So I'm just going to go to Ashley's Furniture. And I'm going to click here. And I'm going to go ahead and search a couch. Hit enter. And I can browse through. I know I have $5,000. It's an apartment, so probably nothing way big. I can always change my mind later, but let's see. Oh, it's a queen. I'm going to go ahead and do this one. It's a sofa sleeper, so I can actually pull that out. And if someone would stay over, then they could sleep on the couch. So these are thumbnails like we've talked about before, like where you've done images before. So you don't want to copy this picture. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to do a quick view. And now here's where I actually want to take the link. And I'm actually going to look, and this is going to cost me $699. So what I'm going to do is to take this to my spreadsheet. I'm actually going to have a link that goes right to this page. So if I come up to the top to the address bar, the URL bar, I'm just going to click once, and then I'm going to right click, and I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to know that it's $6.99. I could always come back, but I might as well work smarter, not harder. So I've copied it, $6.99. I'm going to go back to my first apartment. And I'm going to go ahead and put in $6.99 before I forget. So I'm going to put in 699.00. But again, that looks just like the computer won't register to the computer. So I'm going to come up and make sure I tell it, yep, formulate that as $1. And again, my dollar sign goes in, 699. I'm only going to want one. Now, to be able to go back out and see it, I'm going to click here, and I'm going to highlight it, and I'm going to go to Insert, and I'm going to go down to Link, and it's asking me to paste my link that I copied, so I'm going to paste it, and then I want it to apply. So now you'll see couch is now in blue, and it's underlined, and that's notorious for that being a link. And you'll see that if I hover over it, I get the URL, so I can hit that address, and I can go out. Yep, that's what I got for $6.99, and I can see that it's Ashley's Home Store. So I'm going to go back, and I have that in there. Now my unit cost, we're going to need to put in a formula because right now this column isn't going to do any calculating because I haven't given it any directions. It's like when you come into class, you won't start on anything to work on unless I give you directions. And so what I need to do is give it directions. So I'm going to click in this box, and the equal sign is always telling the computer, okay, I'm ready to calculate. I'm going to do some numbers. And so I'm going to put an equal sign there. Now let's think for a minute. If you were going to do this manually, whenever you have what something costs, so say I go to the store and I get 2 candy bars, and they each cost 50 cents. How do I know how much that is? Well, 50 cents times 2 is $1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say equals, and then I'm going to go and I'm going to tell it coordinates, like the battleship game. So I'm going to go up and I'm going to say, I need you to calculate column C by row 5. So how do I write that? It's going to be, I'm going to type in C, and I started on C4, or I'm sorry, I need it on C5, where my first dollar sign is, so I need C5, and you'll see that it highlights, and I'm in the right square there, okay? I'm in the right cell, and then I want to multiply, but some of you are going to say, go ahead and use the times sign. You don't want to use the times sign. You actually want to use the asterisk, which is Shift 8. So Shift 8. So now I've told the computer you're going to take C5, and I want to multiply it by the quantity, which is going to be D5. So I'm going to put in a D and a 5. And now the computer knows to do that. And so it multiplies. 699 times 1 is 699. If I go back in and I say, nope, give me 2 of those couches, and I click out of it, now it's going to be 1398. So you'll see that as you're working, it's going to keep a running total of the unit cost times the quantity times the total cost, or equals the total cost. So for right now, I'm just going to do 1. It'll take it back to the 699. Now, the cool thing, there's a shortcut that you can do, is instead of having to type in that formula every box you go down, we can set it up so that the computer will actually tally. It'll go to C5 times D5, or I'm sorry, C6 times D6, etc., etc. So how do I do that? If I have this box clicked, do you see that if I hover over this corner, I get a crisscross? I'll go away. See the crisscross? If I shift and hold that down, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm just going to go down like 12. Now, what it's done is it has just copied the formula so that now if I click in here, you'll see that this is going to be, if you look up here by the equals up here in the box, in the notation box up here. Now I have C6 times D6. This one, C7 times D7. And so now it's automatically going to do that formula so we don't have to type it every time. So that's sweet. All right, so let's go buy something else and you can see how this works. So a couch, I'm going to need floor lamp. So I'm going to go shopping again. And this time I'm not going to go to Ashley's. Say that I go to Menards. I love Menards. Menards lighting is good. I'm going to go to shop all departments at Menards. And I'm going to go ahead and tell it that I need a floor lamp. Enter. I'm going to look at different. Oh, I want floor lamps. So I'm going to click on floor lamps. Let's see. Say that I like, this one. So again, this is a thumbnail, and I don't want to get the thumbnail, so I'm going to click right on the object, right on the what I'm purchasing, and here it is. So up here, I'm going to go back up to the URL, which is the address, if you remember. I'm going to click it. It highlights. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to remember $27.99 so I don't have to come back if I don't have to. And I'm going to click back here. First thing I'm going to do is put in my $27.99. And then I got to tell it, remember this whole column, I got to tell it, yep, that's money. And now I'm going to click over here. And I'm going to highlight it. And I'm going to go to Insert. I'm going to go down to Insert a Link so it goes right out. I'm going to paste my link in. And I want it to apply that. And again, if I move away, it's underlined. It's in blue. If I hover over it, I can click. And now I'm at Menards. Here's my floor lamp I bought. Or I'm going to purchase. So I'm going to go back to here and say that I want, if I put in 1, remember, if I click off, $27.99. If I want 4, it's going to cost me $111. For right now, you know what? I'll do 2. Never hurts to have more than 1 floor lamp. And so I'm going to spend $55.98 on a floor lamp. Now, you're just going to continue down, and if you, right now I have, let's see, I can buy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can buy 10 more things. Now, say that I buy 10 things and I still have money left. Well, I'm going to probably spend that money. So don't forget, you would want to click here and then continue down. Oh, Misty. Let's see. I would want to get the cross, click, and continue down so that it continues to up here, C16 times D16. So don't forget that. If you are done, you would want to take it back up. Or you can just, let's see, go back up. I guess the best thing if you have too many would just be to cancel it out. And then it would stop calculating if you have too many. Okay, so you're going to shop here. You have $5,000 to shop with. Now, there's going to be something else helpful that we can do right now because the way we have it set up right now, it's calculating across, and so I can see the things I'm buying, which is super. But right now, I can't tell how much money I have left. And so what I want to do here is I want to get this going so that when I go down this list, it's going to start subtracting and I'll know how much. I want to know my balance so I can keep shopping. So let's do a couple more formulas. We did the one here where it was C times D, and we put it in here, and then we just did the drag and we went down. So here we have total spending. Granny gave us $5,000. It's great. Total expenditures means that we want to add up everything here. So again, we're going to start with the equal sign. We're going to tell the computer I want to start doing some math. And so I'm adding, but I don't want to use the word add. I'm going to use the word sum. And I know you've heard that from math class. So I'm going to put sum, and then I'm going to do a parenthesis, and I'm going to give it a value. I needed to add, so say that I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm going to use these 12 spots. I needed to add up all of these spots so that I can tell how I'm doing. And so I'm just going to start at my first. I'm going to give it the first coordinate. And so I'm going to go to this cell, and I'm on E5. So I'm going to put in, and it already did it, E5. And then I want to do a colon, E5 colon. And then what am I going down to? If I just highlight here, E5. And then if I go down here, I'm going to be E16. So I'm going to put in E16. And so now you can see that it's going to add all of these together. And so right now you can tell that I have a couch for $6.99 and I have this for $55.98. So right now it's calculating. I'm up to $7.54. Perfect. So it's going to add here, and it's going to add it's going to add it over here. So I know exactly how much I've spent so far. Problem is, I don't really want to get out my calculator and subtract from here. Again, I'm going to let Google Sheets do it for me. So think like you would if you were on paper. You have $5,000. You have $754.98 that you've spent. If you were doing it by hand, you would draw the line. You would take this, subtract it from that. So we're just going to tell that computer that. We need to tell the computer, take this, subtract this to give me this. So you click in the cell, start with the equal sign. And so now I'm going to say start here. So it's H4. So I'm going to put in H4. And then I want to subtract. So I'm just going to hit minus. So now it knows it's taking this minus H5. And then I click off of it. And so now you'll see that it's 5,000 and it's 754. I subtract that and you're going to get 40. I have 42,4502 left. Say that I change this and I want 2 couches. you'll see how all of this works in real time. Click out of that. And now my total expenditures, I've spent 1,400 and some, and now I'm down to 3546, and I've just bought 2 things. So I think I'll stick with just 1 couch. Click back off, and it's going to keep real time. So now you're all set up. You should, in review, have item, unit cost, quantity, total cost for this chart, bolded. Then you should have total spending, total expenditures, balance, bolded. And then remember that anytime you add anything in this column, you're going to put the number in with the decimal, and then you're going to go up to the currency and make sure that you tell the computer this is dollars. And then quantities, and then that first square is I'm going to take E5, or I'm going to take C5, and I want to multiply it by D5, and so that's the formula I put here, and you can see that right here. And remember that I didn't use the normal X button like you would think with times. You do Shift 8, which is the asterisk. And then once you do that, you can click and drag as many squares, use the right language, Misty. You're going to drag it down as many cells as you think you need. You can always add more, or you can take away. And then over here, the total spending, we put in $5,000. We reminded the computer it's money. And then we have total expenditures. So that's where we went to here and went all the way down to here and put in the formula that says equals sum. And then I went from E5 and I went down to E16. And that gave me the formula right here. So now the computer knows I'm going to add everything up right here. And then from there, we needed to tell the computer, okay, take this minus this. So what we did was we just said take H4 minus H5. And so once you've done that, you're good to go. Happy shopping. You only have $5,000. Remember that you can't go a penny over. You'll see on my teacher example that I was able to go down to $10.91. So I don't know. You can try to get it down to 0,000. It's up to you. It's your apartment. What do you want to spend? You just can't be in the red. And so let me show you how that works real quick before we're done. Say that I get 2 love seats and I click off of it. I cannot have a negative sign here. No. So mom and dad or whomever has already made it clear they're not spending $1. So I need to make sure that I don't go over budget. So I came within $10. See how you do. Again, happy shopping, and we'll come back and add the colors and do the chart later.